Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, we're talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and their decision to leave the monarchy and conquer Hollywood. The Daily Express reported that the couple wants to go it alone, but can they really stop talking about their time in the royal family? So, if that's something you're interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, let's talk about Harry and Meghan. While it's not impossible for them to create a brand outside of the monarchy, they should have done it from the start. Today we're talking about this report from the Daily Express talking about how Harry and Meghan apparently have decided that they want to go it alone, they want to go without the monarchy, and they can stop talking about it. Well guys, I'm not so sure about that, and I'm going to give you guys a couple of reasons why I think that might not be the case. But if you guys haven't been here before, hello, my name is Brittany, and on this channel, I provide compelling royal commentary about the latest news, and sometimes a little bit of gossip as well, and I also will be reviewing television shows and movies, and sharing a bit about history too. Just a little bit about me: I have been a very avid royal watcher for over 10 years. I'm also a historian, so I bring just a ton of background to this topic, and I really love watching the worlds and analyzing the royals. So if that's something of interest to you, I would love for you to subscribe. In addition, I have a weekly newsletter that are Real Wire. I have a trip coming up to the UK, and I only have 4 spots left, so if you're interested in going to London and the Cotswolds with me, there'll be a link down below, in addition to my fashion pages, and also be doing some more shorts as well, so you'll see those pop up on your YouTube feed as well, and there'll be little bits about the news that we've seen going on this week that maybe are just not enough for a full-length video, but just something a little short and sweet. But like I said, let's get back to this idea that Harry and Meghan can maybe really create a brand outside the monarchy. Now, like I said, there is a lot of problems with this. Number one, they should have done that from the jump. So when Harry and Meghan left to go to the United States, I thought the way they did Max, it was really terrible, dropping the bomb on everybody, not giving everybody enough time to react. I always thought it was very cowardly of Meghan to leave her husband there to deal with all the fallout with his family, with the press, and everything. Why she skedaddled over to Canada and avoided it all, and she's done that at least twice. So I feel like that's an aspect of the relationship where I'm like, you know what, you might want to stick by your husband in this type of situation. But anyways, beyond that, if they did want to create a brand outside the monarchy, hey, that's what a lot of spares are doing anymore, because that's kind of what they're having to do. When you look at the rest of Europe, thinking of Scandinavia, Spain, well, we've seen a lot of these royal families do is just narrow it down to the people in the main line of succession. So this is the crown prince or princess, and there's different titles for different families have different titles. All the Scandinavian houses use crown prince or princess, and then we have the Princess of Orange, the Princess of Aurelius, Duchess of Brabant. Yes, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong because it is French, so I do apologize for that, or hereditary in some of the defunct lines, but that's also the case in Luxembourg, and I think maybe they've started using it a bit of Monaco. I swear I've seen it in regards to Prince Jacques, who that is Prince Albert's youngest son. So many of the spares in these families. So for example, Princess Madeleine of Sweden, she lives here in the United States, so she is the king's third-born child and his youngest daughter, so she lives here in Florida with her family. We also have Prince Hakim of Denmark. He and his wife Marie will be moving out to Washington, D.C. We have the defunct Greek royal house. A lot of them have lived here in the United States, and Princess Eugenie has lived here for a period of time, and there's been other worlds, especially from some of the lesser houses that have come to the United States to live, so it wasn't outside the realm of possibility that Harry and Meghan could come and live here and make their money. However, there were so many issues with it. Number one is that they were constantly trading off the royal title. Everybody had to call them the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They've been to Sussex as a couple one time, as far as we're aware, one single time. Again, if Meghan Markle could point out Sussex on a map and tell me 5 things about it, I'd be seriously shocked. I'd be very shocked. Again, It just seems like they've used this title, they've gained this title, and then they don't care to do any of the other things that are associated with it. And so they've been using this title to gain, to go get ahead and get all these deals and everything. And what these companies that invested in Harry and Meghan were banking on is that Harry and Meghan told them in part that they would spill the beans about the royals, they would spill the beans about their time in the royal family. That's only reason Netflix, Spotify, and Penguin Random House probably really at the end of the day gave them the time of day. And I can't say that for absolute certain. But what do you think about it? Meghan was a cable actress. She was CD-list, she had a steady career and gig, but she always got bit roles, except for Suits. Suits was probably going to be her last major thing, because she was aging out of the hot girl trope. In addition, she wasn't a great actress, so she can't even do character things beyond that point. And then you also have Harry, who apparently somebody had to help him cheat allegedly to graduate high school. That's been a bit of a controversy, that they had to help him paint whatever final project he had to pass. Art, again, artist's objective, that how he could not pass that by himself, to me, is still an absolute mystery. And there's a lot of suggestions as well, and reports that his role in the military was inflated. So you have to look at these two people and go, how in the world did they get $100 million tax Netflix deal? Because Meghan has not produced diddly squat except for her blog. Again, she's very much an influencer level, which nothing wrong with that at all. But the idea that she's going to go from influencer to all often this massive creative is a huge leap. So I feel like that is what Harry and Meghan have been fighting against for a while. So when it came to getting these deals, their royal titles played a huge role, and they constantly had to talk about them. In addition, they would go and talk about things as if they were still royal patrons of organizations, and they were very much acting like royals. And again, you left, and you can't be king and queen here, or a prince and princess here, and be like the prince or princess of America. No, that's not how it works. You're private citizens, you have no government role whatsoever. But they very much still acted in that way. That weird pseudo-royal tour in New York, why were any of these organizations meeting with them? They represent nothing but their own business interests anymore. And so they were very much trading off their connection to the crown to get essentially a diplomatic status and an extended royal tour that they really had no business doing, because they're no longer representing the monarchy. Even recently, Harry and his child letter called himself their royal patron. It's like, but you're not really a real patron. Yes, you're technically a royal, and technically you're a patron, but when it comes to being a royal patron, that's a different thing. So Harry really, again, this is blurring of this line. And Harry, even in his interviews talking about his book, was talking about how he still represented the crown, and that he needed to come and save them from themselves. That's what he kept talking about. It's like, you do realize you're left, right? So, if they cannot even in their own minds accept the fact that they're gone, that they don't have this role that they desperately wanted, because don't forget, in their Mexican statement on their website, they made it very clear they still wanted all their patronages, they still wanted to go on foreign royal tours representing the crown, they still very much wanted to be treated as royals, they still wanted Charles's money too. They said they wouldn't take anything from the sovereign grant, which is the big pool that everybody pulls from to kind of support the palace's staff members. Those sorts of things. Harry and Meghan's a very small percentage of their money came from that. They still wanted the money from the Duchy of Cornwall that Charles would give them. They were still anticipating that they weren't even going to touch Harry's inheritance. They were just gonna keep asking Charles for money. I kid you not, it was very clear. And I remember reading it going, they said the sovereign grant, they didn't say the Duchy of Cornwall. So they are banking on people thinking all their money came from the sovereign grant and not the Duchy of Cornwall. Anyways, all that to say is that Harry and Meghan very much blurred their lines, and they wanted a royal role, but on their terms, when the monarchy rightly said, I'm sorry, but no, you can't have that. If you are somebody getting taxpayer funds, you have to abide by certain things. So you can come from major family events. In fact, we encourage you, but you cannot come in and act like royals. And you cannot be royals anymore, you very much like princesses. Eugenie and Beatrice, and the rest of the family, where you are a private citizen, you maybe have a royal title, but you are a private citizen. Harry and Meghan can totally accept that yet, so the biggest problem, obviously, like I said, is this connection with the royal family, that they refuse to let go, how they constantly use their titles. And in addition, do they have the talent to do this? Because I think one of the fundamental flaws of this plan, so neither one of them is creative, neither one of them. This was never their thing. Meghan was an influencer style. I mean that the things they have produced at this point are mostly middling archetypes, was nails on a chalkboard, tough sometimes to listen to. It was very polarizing, even though it was masquerading as something that should have a broad appeal. It was very leftist, and it interviewed very leftist people. If she had interviewed a couple of people you could say publicly lean conservative, I would say bravo, that's good, you're getting out of your comfort zone. But Meghan didn't get out of her comfort zone at all. In fact, in the Mariah Carey interview, it was hilarious. She got so miffed when Mariah Carey mentioned, "Oh honey, you're a diva." It's totally freaked, making out Meghan could not deal with the idea that she might be a diva. And at the time I remember thinking, this should be a very bad interview. Why are you getting so freaked out about the possibility that you may be called a diva? Because that's the least of what you could be called, and Mariah was actually owning it. She's like, I love being a diva, who cares? And Meghan just definitely did not have that attitude. But again, and then we have their initial offering to Spotify, which was very basic, and they did not do much for that. They basically had all their friends record things, and then they had their producers compile it, and then they added to bits here and there. So if I was Spotify, I'd be irritated as all heck, because they sold them a basket of goods that they were going to be able to produce content, and they haven't really done it. Archetype still does not have a confirmed season 2 that should tell you everything, because besides all the noise that Mary and Meghan generate, I don't think they're very good at getting and retaining an audience. Yes, they can get some initial curiosity listens. Even the Telegraph reviews were pretty awful for it, going, can this please, or is this either the Telegraph or the Times was like, can we please be done with this now? So there was just not a lot of love for Meghan and that podcast. And then they have their reality TV show now. To be fair, it was very well watched, second in watch hours next to the Tinder Swindler, which is still incredible that it didn't beat it, because Harry and Meghan should be so much bigger than the Tinder Swindler, but that one's been on much longer. Anyways, Harry and Meghan, it was called out time and time for being boring, for using stock footage and acting like it was Meghan being chased by paparazzis, when it was clearly a staged photo of a guy in a car with a long telephoto lens. I mean, it almost looked like fake, like it was drawn up together in Photoshop or something. There was even an artificialness to that. They used archival footage, so footage of other court cases too, or paparazzi scenes, to act like it was Meghan going through that. So it was called out a lot of times for being misleading, for outright lying at moments, and for just being plain dull. The first 3 episodes, guys, were just dull as all heck. There's some bits of it I've really struggled to get through, because it was just so like they just think their love story is the greatest thing on the history of the planet, like their love story encapsulates every, like Romeo and Juliet don't hold a candle to Harry and Meghan. And then we have Harry's book, which again has sold very well, but it's made them look terrible. It's made Harry look terrible. It's made Meghan look terrible. So all this combined together is, how are they going to move forward without the royals? They need that royal connection. As I said in my previous video, I believe they will go to the coronation, because they have to go to the coronation. They're hypocrites if they do, but who are they if they don't? That's a huge question. And I think going forwards, I think they may try. We've been told they'll try to do rom-coms. Maybe those will be as successful, maybe they won't. Rom-coms are pretty formulaic, so there's a possibility. But I think the bigger problem is what happens if their individual endeavors, if their endeavors without the royal influence, without the royal connections. I mean, granted, they'll still use those titles to all get out, but what happens if those don't perform well and Harry and Meghan are stuck going, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? Because at the end of the day, those companies signed them again because of their royal connection. They wanted that inside track into the royal family, that's why they were assigned to these deals. And while Netflix, I'm sure, is very pleased with what they got, their publisher is very pleased with what they got. I don't think Spotify is, but the Netflix and the publisher are satisfied. But will they be as satisfied if Harry and Meghan, the rest of what they produce is not that good? And what if Harry and Meghan, in order to produce good content, have to farm out so much of the creative process to other people that they really don't make anything off of it? Because I think that could happen too. Because you would have to hire, because they always want to hire the highest caliber person. So it could be entirely possible that Harry, Meghan, technically a lot of their money, even though they're getting a lot of it, at the same time a lot of it is going out to pay the people they brought in to make them look good. And so what happens if they're trying to do these rom-coms and none of them are landing, that nobody likes them, that they're called out for being too woke, the acting is bad? Could be Meghan's acting. What will they do? Well, once again, they'll go back to their tired and true method of trashing the royal family. That's what they'll do. So that is, I think, a huge issue that is still looming, that even if Harry and Meghan try to go down a separate path, I think all roads lead to the monarchy, because Harry and Meghan are nothing without it, and they still need to trade off those royal connections. That's how they got those rules. That's how they got those jobs. And without it, they just don't really have anything to play. And I think when push comes to shove, when it becomes desperate, when they're about to lose a lot of money, they'll go there yet again, and they'll make the monarchy their punching bag, because unfortunately, they just don't have the talent for much else. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more royal content.